Annyeonghaseyo, good afternoon, magandang hapon po. Welcome to UP Korea Research Center Korean Studies Info Session. Just to give you a short information about UP Korea Research Center or UPKRC, it was launched on April 27, 2016, aiming to provide Filipino scholars and researchers with opportunities to widen their interest in Korean studies. UPKRC holds various academic and cultural activities for Filipino scholars and professionals and serves as a university hub that will help promote and develop Korean studies in the country. One of the annual events of UPKRC is the Korean Studies Info Session. In this event, not only about Korean studies contents are discussed, but also Filipino scholars' first-hand experiences in applying for scholarship in various Korean universities and also the available scholarships in Korea. So today, our resource person is Miss Ivy Ganadillo. She is currently doing her PhD at the Graduate School of International Studies in Ewha University and a fellow of the Global Korea Scholarship. She was appointed as International Student Ambassador of Ewha University. That's why we have this talk too. She has a master's degree in Asian Studies and a bachelor's degree in political science in University of the Philippines. Ms. Ganadillo is a former faculty member of the Ateneo de Manila University's Chinese Studies program and the Polytechnic University of the Philippines College of Political Science and Public Administration. Let's welcome Ms. Ivy Ganadillo.
All right, thank you, Ron, and good afternoon, everyone. 안녕하세요, 여러분. So, thank you for listening and coming in this afternoon information session. And as what mentioned, I will give you information on what to expect. How are you going to study in Ewha Women's University? What is the admission process for international students? And also, what are the scholarships available? All right, so like what I have mentioned, Ewha Women's University is a women's university, but don't you worry, we are actually accepting exchange students. We have also language students, which are actually male. And later on, I will add other scholarship opportunities, not only for female students, of course, but all students, like male students who want to study not only in Ewha, but other universities here in Korea. So before I move on to the details of the admission and programs in Ewha, I will give you first a brief tour and overview at Ewha Women's University with a short video. And of course, this will also give you a glimpse of what is it to study in a university in Korea. All right, so just give me a few seconds. I will share the video.
Ewha opens the doors of change with each generation. Embracing diversity and inclusive leadership, Ewha opens the path of innovation. The first step towards a better future starts today at Ewha. Ewha lays the path for the world to follow. Ewha Women's University. The world asks Ewha, Ewha answers, what makes it special is its history of overcoming limitations. From one female student to now a community of over 250,000 students and graduates. For over 130 years, Ewha's main goal has always been to incubate global female leaders. And with these leaders, Ewha has changed the world. We ask ourselves, Ewha offers a creative educational environment that nurtures students capable of meeting the complex challenges of the future. Transcends the traditional boundaries of liberal arts and the sciences. Faces challenges through cooperation and communication, and fosters women who go beyond Asia to become global leaders. From Ewha to the world, and from the world to Ewha, Ewha never ceases to take on challenges that open doors to the future. Ewha seizes the future. A community of women who pioneer the future. Equipped with globally renowned research capabilities and connections to global research networks, Ewha fosters women who will bring balance to the world. Ewha's top-quality research facilities and diverse cooperative programs with leading industries are proving opportunities for women to excel in the fields of not only humanities, social studies, and the arts, but also science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Ewha's community of world-class scholars are powering the future growth of Ewha.
저는 융합기술을 기반으로 다음 세대를 준비하는 환경공학을 연구하고 있습니다.
진단과 치료가 동시에 가능한 테라노스틱 연구를 수행하고 있습니다.
This is part of the Institute for Basic Science, which allows us hopefully to become one of the top 5 research centers in quantum nanoscience in the next 5 years.
돌고래, 까치, 긴팔 원숭이들을 연구하며 우리 여의대 학생들을 세계적인 연구자로 키워내고 있습니다.
미래 사회와 과학 발전에 공헌할 여성 인재를 양성하고 있습니다.
언어예술로서의 시, 창의적 상상력으로서의 시적인 것, 이런 것들을 함께 공유하고자 노력하고 있습니다.
이 사회에 도움이 되고 또 사랑이 가득 담긴 음악을 널리 알리도록 노력하겠습니다.
이화에서 지원해주는 21세기 지도자 장학금을 받고 공부했습니다. 그리고 바라던 모교의 교수가 되어 소수자 및 여성 정치를 연구하고 있습니다.
이화는 제게 자신감을 심어준 곳입니다. 일단 해보자, 해도 된다, 괜찮다 라는 그런 용기를 심어준 곳입니다.
저는 이화에서 사랑과 헌신, 격려와 연대를 배웠습니다. 이러한 배움을 바탕으로 사회 정의를 실현하기 위해 노력하고 있습니다.
이화는 미래가 더 기대되는 대학입니다. 선도적인 연구와 교육을 통해 세상의 균형을 잡는 인재를 양성하겠습니다.
Ewha's challenges move the world forward. Here at Ewha, nothing is impossible. Ewha lays the path for the world to follow. Ewha Women's University.
right, thank you. I hope that video excites you. So like what I said, here in Ewha, nothing is impossible. And to all our viewers this afternoon, I hope that if you got interested after on studying in Korea, you would choose Ewha. And of course, I will let you know why and what are the opportunities. Again, admission process for international students and other scholarship opportunities, not only for graduate students, but also for undergraduate students. Okay, and then later on, I will give you also other scholarship opportunities that you could apply in other universities in Korea. All right. So anyway, if you do have questions, we are now live in YouTube, so you could just type in your questions, and Professor Ronel Laranjo will read some of your questions later. So we will try to answer it as best as I can. Anyway, later on also, I will be sharing some contact information of Ewha Women's University in particular with the admission department, the scholarship department, so you can prepare and do your screenshot. All right. So anyway, so just jot down your notes if you want to ask questions. But anyway, I think we have received also your questions when you register here at Korea Research Center. All right. So let me show. Let me share first right now my PowerPoint. Just a few seconds. All right, so yeah, let's begin our introduction of the university and admission for international students. Why study abroad? And of course, why study in Korea? I think every one of you are familiar, of course, of Korea. What is life in Korea in terms that you can see, of course, in K-drama. And I think you know a lot of Koreans, meaning you know a lot of K-pop stars, K-idols. All right, so I mean, more than that, I hope that educational opportunities will excite you more. Right, so if we compare from the top first world countries like US, UK, Australia, we banner here in Korea that we are also offering world-class education, but again, we do have very reasonable tuition fee. So again, of course, you can come here as paying students, but it's better, of course, if you can come here also with scholarship. But just take down notes. I will be sharing later some of the estimated tuition fee per program and per semesters. But don't you worry, if you do have scholarship, you could get everything for free, of course. And well, if you study here in Korea, it's proximity to the Philippines, of course. That's obvious. I think it's three and a half hours only flying to the Philippines. So in a weekend, if you are bored, you could fly back to the Philippines to cook for your mom or to your family. Or anyway, it's easy to go around the world, considering Korea is a hub of international transportation. So hopefully after COVID, we could travel again, right? And of course, what else? Of course, every one of you know we do have safe environment, safe and convenient environment. Public transportation is good, and we have free Wi-Fi everywhere. It means that you will not get lost, all right? Even as a tourist, as a student, anything that you need, Korean government make it possible that it is convenient for everyone. All right, and as I have mentioned earlier, I think this is not a secret anymore, the dynamic culture of Korea with its delicious food, cinema, and drama, and K-pop. And if you go here in Korea, you will experience everything in real life, all right? And yeah, what more can I say? I think you know more about this than me. But of course, like what I've said, why study in Ewha? And right now I'm studying in Ewha, and I assure you, you will enjoy studying in Ewha. Like what I've said earlier, we banner that we have world-class education. We do have international environment meaning you will not feel actually alienated here studying Ewha. You will not feel like you're a foreigner and everyone is Koreans around you. Actually, there are a lot of foreign students here in Ewha. For example, in my class, I think I have my graduate programs, international studies. Usually I have 2-3 Korean classmates. Most are international students from around the world. Also in our dormitory, students are coming from all over the world. So you will not feel that this is just Korea world like for a long time. It's really an international environment. And of course, we're the largest comprehensive university for women. But later on, I will tell you, you do have other opportunities that you could go to other universities too through Ewha. All right. And of course, this is a traditionally prestigious in Korea and worldwide. Everyone, I guess, know this one. And we are so proud to say that Ewha Women's University has an outstanding international student care, and I can attest to this. As an international student here, they really help a lot. During the time of COVID, especially if there's no time of COVID, you will have a lot of fun experience as an international student because the International Affairs team is designated to help all international students, not only when they are here in Ewha, during the time of application to the processing of documents until you arrive here in Ewha, you are being taken care of. And I think this numbers has been shown already on the video. So what more can I say? Ewha is one of the oldest university in Korea, 103 years old, and we're the second oldest university. So we have a lot of alumni, renowned alumni in Korea, and also have been highlighted or been known all over the world. And our campus area, of course, as you can see, it's very beautiful. I think as a tourist, if you have been in Korea, everyone knows that you should not miss Ewha campus. And international exchange programs are also very available for all Ewha Women's University students. We'll talk more about it later. All right, so let me give an overview about the major departments and colleges and graduate schools here and research institutes as well that is in Ewha. I will also be showing, like what I said earlier, the programs and the estimated tuition fee if you want to come as a paying student. But if you're a scholar, you don't need to pay anything. So before I move on that one, to excite you more and to encourage you to enroll in Ewha, we are bannering that we have been also on the top rankings of the universities, of course, ranked first among Korean universities in the Linden ranking. We are also selected for various government-funded programs by the Ministry of Education, and in the TS World Ranking, we are also on the top. And of course, great location. Ewha is in the center of the Seoul right now. Actually, I'm facing the window. I'm beside my window in my dormitory, and I can see here Namsan Seoul Tower. So it's really at the center of the Seoul, and means that we are also surrounded by major universities here in Ewha. That's why we do have here the Yes League. What is the Yes League? It's Yonsei, Ewha, and Sogang University. So actually, like I said, Ewha is at the center actually of Seoul and surrounded by universities. You don't need to ride the train if you want to go to Yonsei. Maybe you just can walk 10 minutes and you're already in Yonsei. If you walk a little bit more, you could be already in Sogang. And if you're in Ewha, you could also do exchange credit. You could enroll in Yonsei University. You could also enroll in Sogang University. And those courses that you will enroll in Yonsei and Sogang would be accredited to your programs in Ewha. So, well, and that means also that if you're in Ewha, you will have classmates from Yonsei and Sogang. All right. So actually, these are also, it means that your classmates will not be all female. You have male students also coming from Yonsei and Sogang. And at the same time, you could enroll there. And number 4, bullet point, I think, yes, if you know that Ewha is a tourist spot, you will know that it also means Ewha is a fashion district. You have a lot of shops and restaurants that we could enjoy. As you can see in the video later, earlier, we have great campus and facilities. Later on, I will show you more if we do have time. I will give you more virtual tour, especially on the on-campus housing for international students. So these buildings are all dormitories. We have more buildings for dormitories, and this is actually where I am living right now. And I can assure you, I have actually friends. I'm not sure if Professor Ronel would agree. I have actually friends from other universities here in Korea, and we can could conclude that we have the best dormitory in Seoul or in Korea. So again, this is just an estimate. Okay, if you want to come here as a paying student, but then again, if you come here as scholar, it depends on your scholarship. You could have discount on the dormitory. You can have it for free as well. And of course, you do have an option if you want to live outside. But what is good in living in Ewha's dormitory? It's very close to your classrooms, of course. And then we have different kinds of rooms. It means, of course, there are different prices for these rooms. But also, because it's COVID time, Ewha, I think last semester, fall semester, and this semester, during the COVID pandemic time, we have strict regulations in the universities, and everyone is only allowed to occupy single room. And everyone have the same prices, meaning the lowest prices possible for students could afford. So everyone is occupying single room to avoid any infection if that might be possible from COVID. So yeah. So what do we have in our facilities in the dormitory? Cooking studio, meaning you will not get tired of eating Korean foods. You will not get tired of eating kimchi. Of course, you will not get tired of eating kimchi. But anyway, you have cooking studio, meaning you could still cook Filipino food. You could cook your own food that you want. That is for free. Everything here, cooking studio, fitness room, study room, prayer lounge, laundry room, of course. This is free to use by dormitory students. So for the Filipinos, here in Korea, here in Seoul especially, you could easily buy Filipino foods, Filipino ingredients. You will not feel homesick, in short. And of course, like I said earlier, we offer global education. It's not only that the students are coming from all over the world, actually the professors are actually coming from all over the world as well. Like in our graduate school, the Graduate School of International Students, they have professors who are British, American, Russian, and of course, Korean. And in the international environment, I think everyone is curious, how about the medium of instruction? Is it in English? Is it in Korean? Well, actually, it depends on your program. It depends on your college. This one on the PowerPoint right now are for undergraduate students. So all courses are taught in English for international and Korean studies with these majors: National Business and Economics, International Law and Diplomacy, Asian Studies, Cultural Studies, Ethnic Studies. So this is 100% in English. Okay, this is for undergraduate. Some of the courses are taught 50% in English, 50% in Korean, such as English language and literature, international office administration. So again, this is for undergraduate. Overall, 30% of courses taught in English, but most majors require Korean language proficiency. So please be prepared. So if you think that you are more inclined to some of the courses, like especially those hard sciences like arts, music, most of them are in Korean. Here in Ewha, I've met some students, like Filipino students who are undergraduate, masters, and of course some PhD students. When I ask them if their program, for example, I have a friend in business administration, some of the courses are in Korean that she enrolled, but they are allowed to give presentations in English. They are also allowed to take exams in English, and some of the materials given by the professors are in English, but the medium of instructions are usually in some courses are in Korean. In my case, the Graduate School of International Studies, everything is in English. So like what I've said earlier, this is international environment, meaning the degree-seeking students are coming from all over the world. We have degree students from 76 countries. And it also means, like what I've said earlier, if you were in Ewha, you could also study and go abroad to avail our exchange programs. So Ewha is partnered in different universities outside. So you could have exchange opportunities as well through Ewha. Just to give you a brief overview of the colleges and graduate schools and the estimated tuition fee as well, and the majors available. So yeah, College of Liberal Arts, College of Social Sciences, these are the majors and the estimated tuition fee. Again, if you will get a scholarship, that would be for free already. College of Natural Science, so they have really good programs, especially on chemistry, nanoscience, life sciences. I met a Filipino student who's in this college. College of Engineering. So just maybe take a screenshot. If you need more detailed information in each major, on each program, you could actually check the website of Ewha. Everything is in English. You could directly email the department. They would be happy to assist you. But in case, we could also, I will also show you or give you later on the admission emails and scholarship emails. Those people who handle admission and scholarship. So you could also directly inquire with them. Okay, so let's take note of this one. So this is our undergraduate programs. But then again, if you do have this, they have also counterpart graduate schools, right? Scranton College, this is actually undergraduate for international studies. There's a graduate program where I am into, the Graduate School of International Studies. We do have majors in international relations, development cooperation, international business and trade. So again, it's very easy because the website of Ewha, you can see there the English version. All the contact information are actually detailed as well. So if you do want to know more about the details, you could easily find the answer for your questions. But again, I will give you some email addresses also later on. All right, so like what you have seen on the video earlier, of course, as this university is so old and we have produced women power elite in Korea. So like we have produced the first female doctor, first female lawyer, and a lot of CEOs in different known companies in Korea, like of course Hyundai, POSCO, Samsung. So they are the product of Ewha. Actually, we have a big building here named POSCO, and then if you go to the Ewha complex, we have there a Samsung complex also. Right, so if you go here in Ewha, of course, the language, even your program is in English, you can have an opportunity, of course, to become fluent in English, Korean, and of course, your native language as well. And like what I have mentioned also earlier in terms of our international affairs, they have been selected as one of the best universities in Korea in handling international students. Why is that so? Because they give academic assistance and adaptation assistance, meaning we have also Ewha Mate Mentor Program. So on your first few semesters here in Ewha, you will have a mentor that could assist you. These are all students who could assist you and help you on your daily living. Any questions you could ask them, or in class you have problems, they could assist you also. And they are also giving topic preparation course, meaning the proficiency in Korean, you could also enroll in free language courses. Like last semester, I enrolled in a speaking Korean language program, and that is for free for international students offered by our international affairs team. And like what I said earlier, before going here in Korea, until you graduated, they are happy to assist. And we have all this cultural experience all for international students. So I hope that we will have more actually after this pandemic. So again, the question is how to apply admission for international students. So just take note of this one. So usually for undergraduate, the semesters start on March, the spring semester. For graduate students, your semester usually you could start on fall. But either you could start on spring or fall, especially for graduate students. So just take note of the application date, application a month, and then check our website, isa.ewha.ac.kr, for more detailed information for the deadlines and the application forms, right? And the admission procedures, actually, if you will look on this one, this is actually an SOP, not only in Korea, but like actually in every university. So there is nothing so much new, but of course you will have, in addition, is that you need to visa application, arrival, but aside from it, everything is actually simple and straightforward, and you don't need to go here in Korea to apply. You could just, in my case, some of my documents and like forms, I send it through email to Ewha. And some of it, of course, like the transcript of records or a diploma, of course, the year university needs it hard copy or the original one. So I just sent it through courier, like 2 to 3 days, they receive it already. So you don't need to go here in Korea just to send everything. So the admission website, it's in English. You have also email addresses there later on that you could check if you do have questions. So just to give you a brief overview of the required documents for admission. So these are actually, as you can see, these are the usual documents. Maybe the thing that would be added, as you can see, there's a document validating language proficiency. But again, for Filipinos and for other English-speaking countries, you actually don't need this one. For Filipinos, you could just request to your university a certificate that the English is the medium of instruction. All right. The certificate of bank balance, we don't need to worry about this one, especially if you are a scholar. You don't need to give. I didn't give any certificate from the bank, even when I applied through the university. Passport copies of the applicant, of course, you need that. Both parents, actually, in my case, I just sent actually like the valid ID of my parents, like a senior citizen ID, and that would actually be enough. So eligibility to apply, of course, the usual, as you can see, like what I have mentioned earlier, the applicants must meet one of the following language requirements. So on the fourth bullet point, you have high school diploma or bachelor's degree from Korean or English-speaking institutions. So meaning like for Filipinos, you don't need to get the TOEFL. You're not required to have the topic and other English or Korean tests, because you could just request your university in the Philippines or your school in the Philippines if you're incoming undergraduate to give you a certificate that the medium of instruction is in English. But again, it's also better in case that you're already studying Korean. It's much better that if you do have background of the language also, even though that the language will be in English, it's good because for survival, and if it would be easy for you to adjust also if you have a little background on Korean. But don't you worry, I myself, when I arrived here in Korea, actually I don't know any I don't know anything about Korean language. I don't know even how to read it. So I just learned it actually here as well. So scholarships for incoming students. Okay, guys, take note. These are scholarship provided by Ewha. So these are university scholarships. Okay, we have various scholarships. Right, I will give you later the email address of our scholarship department if you do have more questions. So we do have different scholarship, and it depends on which scholarship will you get. You can have like full coverage of your entrance fee, full tuition fee, campus dormitory. You will have stipend, of course, airfare, and then of course, like any other scholar, you need to maintain a GPA required by the scholarship. But I guess don't worry, it's usually like B+ and up. You just do your role to study, and you will not have a problem on maintaining the grades. Okay, so these are the period for undergraduate. Actually, these are usual 4 years, masters 2 years, graduate 3 years or more, of course. But okay, this period, this coverage, and this scholarship are the ones offered by Ewha. Okay, later on, I will show you other scholarship opportunities that you can get. In Ewha also, we offer in Ewha language, we have various foreign languages as well that you could enroll into. But of course, if you're in Korea, better to enroll, of course, Korean language. But if you're well versed already in Korean, we do have other foreign languages that you could enroll, like Chinese, Japanese. It's here. So if you just want to go here in Ewha as a language student, yes, it's possible as well. But if you're already an undergraduate student, or you are also a grad student here, there are a lot of language programs that could be free, and you could enroll also. So you have an options. Okay, so just take note and maybe screenshot this inquiries in particular about application documents. Just email isadmit@ewha.ac.kr. If you have very specific questions that you cannot see on our website, just email them. Don't hesitate to email in English. Inquiries about scholarship that you didn't see also anything on the website, you could just directly email them. But if in particular department or major, maybe you want to know how many units are the required grade to enter, it is actually better that you contact each department office, check the website of Ewha, the department, contact info and contact person, and just send an email. If in case you need help, isadmit@ewha.ac.kr, the international office team and the admission team would be more than happy to assist you. All right, so that is for Ewha, the admission and application process. Like if you have Professor Ronel Laranjo mentioned earlier that I actually here in Ewha as a Global Korea Scholar. So this is not a university scholarship, but this is a Korean government scholarship. So those that I have mentioned earlier, again, those university scholarships, those scholarships are given by Ewha. My scholarship right now is Global Korea Scholarship from the Korean government that you could also apply if you were interested. So that, I mean, it's better that you have options for scholarships because, you know, scholarships are quite competitive. So it's better if you do have options. Sorry. All right, so you could always check Study in Korea. This is run by the Korean government. You have here the government scholarship, which I am talking about. So studyinkorea.go.kr. You can just check this one. All the available scholarships and contact information of institutions who give scholarship, they are giving this. You could check on this one. So just to give you a brief overview, like what I said earlier, like for Ewha, we have our own scholarship, university scholarship. All other universities in Korea, if you are interested, just check their website. Most of the universities in Korea have their own scholarship opportunities as well. So it's better that you check also so that you can check their benefits and requirements. These are all other scholarship also mentioned on the website. I'll just give you, I will just gloss over on this one if you want to click on it. But then again, like I said, this is available on the website. The contact informations and email addresses are here as well. So aside from foundations like Korea Foundations, Daewon Foundations, there are also private corporations like Samsung that are giving scholarships. So you could check their website. So again, you do have a lot of options for scholarship: university scholarship, government scholarship, and private institution scholarship. So this is would be very quick. As a Global Korea scholar, let me just give you a very brief overview about this one. It's a very good timing because it's February right now. By the mid-February, GKS at the Study in Korea website, we will be posting NIED, like the Minister of Education here, they will be posting the details by mid-February, the details of the application process for the GKS. So this is for the incoming graduate students for fall semester. So this September, so if you want to study this September in Korea, you could apply, start your application this February. All right, so just follow and always visit this website. For undergraduate students, the application for GKS is much earlier. It starts on September, so they should be here in March. So like this one, so total candidates to be selected for the GKS, 170 for undergraduate and 700 for graduate course. So this is all over the world. So this is a bit competitive, but of course, you can just apply to any other scholarship or just try. It's worth trying. So just take note of the application procedure. For undergraduate, announcement released in September. For graduate is this February. All right. So this is the timeline. Right. So this would be available on the website. These are actually pretty straightforward. The only difference with GKS, compared, of course, you have seen the university scholarship. We have 4 years. The only difference with the Korean government scholarship is that you have additional 1-year Korean language program. And this is the only thing that the Korean government is asking their scholars, that you need to have to enroll in 1-year Korean language program, regardless that your program will be in English. You are required to have 1-year Korean language program. So it means that you will have additional 1 year. So for bachelor's degree, it will become 5 years. Associate degree, this is like short courses. So for undergraduate, your scholarship benefits are like, of course, it will cover everything. So you don't need to worry about money. Roughly, that's our the scholarship. The monthly allowance for undergraduate is 900,000 Korean won per month. Right, tuition fee are all covered and everything. So 900,000 is your stipend every month. Where are you going to use this money? That could be used for your food, for clothes, or some universities, they give the dormitory for free for GKS. Some are discounted, so you could get it from your stipend. Is this enough? This is more than enough. So for undergraduate, it's under 25 years of age at the date of entrance. For graduate students, it's 40 years of age at the date of entrance. And for especially for undergraduate, you should have not hold any bachelor's degree yet. Okay, so you should possess also a grade point average GPA above 80% from the last educational institution that you have attended. All right. So don't mind the period. This is the last year, but then like what I said, there's additional 1 year Korean language program for each. So master's degree will become 3 years, doctoral degree, the coverage of the scholarship would be 4 years. There's also a research program. So this is 6 months. This is more for maybe for our faculty. Those have already master's degree. If you want to do research, there's also a 6 months program for that one. And of course, everything is covered. It's almost the same benefits, but for graduate students, you have, okay, this is, I think it's not written here, but every month you will get 1 million won. Okay, so for undergraduate, 900,000 won every month. For graduate students, masters and PhD, you will get 1 million won. Where are you going to use it? Food, clothes, maybe books, and yeah, dormitory, or you can also live outside in case that you want to live outside. So then again, if you do have want to choose scholarships, you could just visit the Study in Korea website run by the Korean government. All the details are actually here. It's pretty straightforward. So actually from all the scholarship that I applied into, this is, for me personally, this is one of the easiest. The process is already laid there. You just need to follow it. For Global Korea Scholarship, you could apply directly on the universities here in Korea, or you could also apply in the Korean Embassy in the Philippines. So you can choose from those two tracks, university track or embassy track. So again, don't you worry. Just check the website, check the details of the application procedures. All the universities that you could apply are there. All the programs are available are there as well. And all the applications process are there. So just take note of this one. All right. So that's it for a brief overview of our programs in Ewha and other scholarships here in Korea. All right. So I've seen that we do have questions already, but before we move on to our questions, Professor Ronel, do you want us to have I do have other 2 more videos actually, to have a virtual tour of Ewha. Do you want me to answer the questions, or maybe I could play just 1 2-minute video just to have a break with all the discussions? What do you think?
Yeah, maybe just play the videos first, and then we'll proceed to the question and answer.
All right. And also, as I am preparing, or as we are going to watch this short video, if you do have questions, so you could start writing it down in our YouTube. So don't you worry, we will pick it up. Oops. So yeah, we'll try to answer as much as we can. Ronel also, Professor Ronel is a former student here in Korea, and also a GKS, Global Korea Scholar. So we could help together to answer your questions. Anyway, so yeah, I'll show you our dormitory. This is where I'm living right now, and to make you feel comfortable and you don't need to worry about anything. Okay. Enjoy the video.
There are various dormitories on Ewha's campus. E-House in particular has a great selection of units. Each unit is well furnished with a living room, refrigerator, and bathroom. You can make many friends of various majors and share a room with any friend you'd like. Take a load off here after a hard day to recharge. Just being comfortable is not enough. The most important thing in a dormitory is safety, reliable curfew monitoring, and strict access procedures so you can live without worries. Available for students from Gyeonggi-do Province, as well as other remote areas. The facilities inside the dormitory are great, but the clear view of Namsan Tower is sheer luxury. As it is a dormitory that utilizes eco-friendly energy, 15% of E-House's energy comes from solar and geothermal heat. Before sitting down for a meal, You will most definitely hear camera shutter sounds coming from this space. Ewha's dormitory restaurant menu, which has become a famous online star, is said to taste as good as it looks. Ewha Dormitories, the epitome of great convenience and comfort. There is a study room in which students can study into the late hours, as well as cooking facilities, a cafe, and gym. There is even an unmanned parcel box and a clothing repair shop. You don't have to feel homesick in Ewha's dormitories, since you have everything you need here. When you don't feel good, you desperately miss your mom and home, right? There are doctors and pharmacists on campus, and various types of checkups are available. Don't worry if you get sick or injured. Just go to the health center. A place where you can grow as global leaders, along with more than 4,300 friends from over 80 countries. Offering spaces to host various school events and accommodations for international faculty. E-House, Han Uri House, and I-House, where we learn cooperation, consideration, communication, and community. These are Ewha's hotspots.
All right, so those are Ewha hotspots. So I hope that you are actually encouraged and interested to study in Ewha. Right, I've seen that we have a lot of questions in YouTube and also posted here. So yeah, I have another video, but maybe we could have it later. It's more on just where to hang out in Ewha. But anyway, I'll give the floor first to Ronel so that we could check your questions.
Yes, thank you very much for the informative session, Miss Ivy, and also like Ewha's campus is as beautiful as its women's student, right? Women students. So it's really good to study in Ewha. And I forgot to mention my name. I'm Ronel Laranjo. I'm the current president of Global Korea Studies, Global Korea Scholarship, Philippines Alumni Association. And for the GKS related questions, I think we will have another session for that. So we will have our organization, the GKS PHAA, will hold a session. So we will announce that, and we will answer some of the questions that Ivy could actually answer for this session. And so I will just read the questions as they go. Okay, so Miss Ivy, how did you adapt to the environment that you were not used to, especially in Korea?
Really, I don't know. I really don't have problem in adapting here in Korea. Maybe first because the first year, especially for GKS, is language school. So it's not yet the graduate school. So it's you need just to learn their language for 1 year, and your classmates are actually not even from the same program that you enrolled to. So meaning I'm international studies. My classmates are actually from different parts of the world, from different countries. So they actually assign a language school for us outside the city where your university is into. For example, I'm in Ewha. They assigned my language school in Daegu, in Kamen University, and my classmates are actually also going to study in different universities. So some of them are engineering, sciences, business, different programs. So in terms of adapting, it's not that difficult because all your classmates at first, or you're on the same boat. I mean, you arrive in Korea at the same time. You don't have any idea about Korea. So you go together, and the first thing is language program for GKS. So, and you are assigned with a mentor. It's common, even in Ewha. If you start when I went to Ewha already, we are assigned, you will have a mentor. So there's a mentor-mentee program. So an old student will be assigned to you. So if you do have any questions on daily living, even like if you arrive here, where do you need to eat, where you need phone number, where you need to buy things, these are all guided and assisted by the university. And also for the GKS, I mean, they have really good assistance for international students. So in terms of adapting, I don't have so much problem. And maybe as well for Asians like us, Filipino students, like the environment of Korea as an Asian is not so much different. And you can easily also blend to the Koreans. I mean, unlike maybe like the West Caucasians or blacks, that they are so outstanding in the crowd, for Filipinos or for Asians, generally you could actually and you could just dwell into, or you could just have really very easy life here in Korea, like other Koreans. Maybe they will just notice that you're Weigugin or you're foreigner because you cannot speak the language well. But aside from that, for me personally, really, I don't have any problem in adapting on the environment. And I can. Last February, I also, before the COVID time, I was able to go back to the Philippines to like for just 4 days, 5 days to do something. So if you want to go home, it's actually not that difficult too, and the ticket is affordable.
Okay, so speaking of adapting to the language, so one of the things that you discussed was the language in classes. So eventually you need to be fluent or have a knowledge in Korean language. And then you mentioned in GKS that for 1 year, it is required to have the language program. How about in the scholarships? Because you mentioned about the different scholarships in Ewha, and one of them is Ewha Global Partnership Program, which is actually like GKS minus the language program. So there's a question: is it is level 5 or level 4 needed in that scholarship for you to be qualified?
All right, for scholarships and in Ewha, especially for those, if you are going to apply also in programs that are 50% Korean, or only most of the courses are in Korean, you are required to have at least topic level 3. But if you're going to enroll in a program which is 100% English, you are not required at all to have a topic level. That's for the university scholarship in Ewha. So again, if it depends on your program, if it's really 100% Korean, 50% Korean, 30% or whatever, you need to at least have level 3. But yeah, again, it would depend on the program. So again, you can just email again if you want to have more specific answer for the program that you want to enroll.
Okay. So speaking of pandemic, may I know, there's a question, may I know what would be the difference now that we are still in the pandemic, maybe in terms of applying to Ewha or applying to other scholarship?
I think the major struggle, especially for Filipinos, and not only for Filipinos, for most of the countries who wants to enter Korea, is that because of the pandemic, of course, there are lockdowns. There are flights which are, they cannot go to Korea because there are no available flights. And there are also Korean embassies in different countries that are not actually providing student visa. Some are, I think in the Philippines, like last year, some of our GKS were not able to enter because the embassy are not providing student visa yet. They are just providing like for a spouse, for business or official trips, but for student, they are not yet. So some of them, like last year, they were postponed to enter. So that's one of the major problem. But yeah, Korea is actually trying to understand that situation because this is something new for every one of us. So that one is one of the struggle. If you could go here, if there are flights, or if the visa would be open for students. And in terms of the classes, For me, like I think I got only like almost like 3 months during my language school because I'm in Daegu, one of the hotspot actually for coronavirus here before. After Wuhan, I think I'll have only like 3 months which are offline. I mean online, online, or we don't have classes at all. But after that, we immediately go back to offline classes. And like this fall semester, actually in Ewha, I have finished until December. From August, from September to December, I have finished all my classes offline. So it's actually really good. But again, it depends on the situation because I have classmates in Ewha who were not able to enter for in Ewha, in Korea because there's a lockdown. So we do hybrid classes. So those who are in Korea, we are inside the classrooms. So I have classmates who are, for example, in Germany, Vietnam, France. They were not able to fly in. So for this semester, last semester, and this semester again, spring, we are doing hybrid. So if you're in Korea, you could go into classroom. If you are outside, you could attend online classes. So like Zoom classes. So we are hybrid. So we are trying to adapt. So that's one of the major difference. But as much as possible, like the university really encourage, even especially if the cases in Seoul or in Korea is low, that we do hybrid classes because it's still good to have offline. So I think that's the major things that happen in Korea in terms of the classes and the COVID.
Okay. In case of the recent GKS fellows, actually they're still here in the Philippines because Korea has still travel restrictions for Filipinos, and also the Korean embassy doesn't process visa. So the language institutes and the NIED, the National Institute for International Education in Korea, they gave options to the students to do online classes for their language class, or to apply for leave of absence because they couldn't also do the online classes. And the catch is, if you apply for, or if you get the online class, you are not entitled to the stipend. So because they say you're not in physically in Korea, but then of course many of the scholars or the fellows already quit their jobs. So basically they give up everything, even their jobs just to study. But then the government or the NIED has no options for that. Like if you take online classes, they give you the allowance because they have no bank account in Korea yet. So some of the administrative stuff. So if you're planning to apply for GKS for this year, I think you have to also have that in mind. That for me too, I was a GKS fellow in 2011, and I had a job before then, and I quit, and then studied in Korea for full time. So maybe related to some of the questions here, in Korea, if you're just most of the graduate students are full-time students. Unlike in the Philippines, in our cases, we can have the full-time job and study part-time, right? Or vice versa. But in Korea, most of the students, even the Korean students, they have full-time study for graduate, especially for graduate school, and they don't have jobs, or their parents or whatever they do before that to. Okay, so for those who are for those audience who are applying or planning to apply this year, so have that in mind. Have if you're going to opt for online classes, maybe it may change or maybe not. You cannot receive allowance while you're here in the Philippines. And since our cases is not improving, and Korea's case is also getting the numbers are getting higher, the cases of COVID cases. So maybe it will not change like for some time until they roll out the vaccination program and also here in the Philippines. Okay, so I think for the pandemic context, it is good to have that in mind. And then the common question here, is there an age limit in applying for any programs in Ewha first?
That thing. Okay, it is not specifically mentioned for Ewha if you do have any restrictions for age. If as a paying student, especially, I think there are no written that there are restrictions for age, but for scholarship, there's an age restriction. I'm not sure about the Ewha University scholarship if there's an age restriction. Thank you for that question. I could relay that one too. And yeah, you could also directly email if you are directly concerned about that. You could email our IS admit and the Ewha scholarships if for the age. But,
okay, so in case of GKS, it is stated that you are qualified if you are below 40 years old.
Per master's.
For master's and PhD, actually.
Yes, undergrad is
for
below
undergrad,
25, below 25 years old.
Yeah, so if you are under scholarship, of course, you have to worry about that. But as Miss Ivy said, if you're paying, of course, if you have, as long as you have the money, I think you can study in Korea anytime. And okay, so related to maybe the what's that? The exchange student. There's a question. What if I'm a second year undergrad student and want to pursue studies to Korea? Is that possible? Like a student exchange program?
Maybe you could correct me also if I'm wrong, Ronel, with this one, because usually universities should have MOU with another university if you want to have an exchange program. And if they have no MOU, you could still do exchange program, but it may not be credited on your program in your university. So you could cross-enroll, you could possibly, but if it would be credited to your program in the Philippines, for example, it depends on your university. It's also the same in UP, right, Ronel?
Yes. I think you have to ask your school because it depends on the school whether you have MOU or Memorandum of Understanding for exchange students program. Okay, so on a lighter note, how did you prepare? Like, because Ivy and I are Facebook friends, and I know the answer with this. How did you prepare yourself for Korean winter, especially now, knowing they could reach sub-zero? Actually, when I was there, I experienced -20, -13. I think that's the most thing. And if it's, I said to Ivy, if it's 0 during winter time, it's already mainit. I say because like -13s. You know the feeling of meat in your freezer. So how about you, Ivy? How do you prepare for the Korean winter?
Yeah, Ronel is right. So every day, if it's winter, you will check the temperature, the weather. What will be the weather for the day? Because it will depends on the weather, on the temperature. That depends on the clothes that you're going to wear for the day. So if it's 0, it means that it's lighter clothes. It's still warm. If it goes below 0, of course, you need to be a little bit prepared, especially for us coming from a tropical country. Our tropical body is like, hello, winter. Of course, especially right now, if you can see on the news, the weather is so weird. I mean, like, it's February already. Yeah, it's snowing heavily outside. Of course, it's so fun at first. I mean, maybe it depends on the person. It's so fun at first. Of course, we don't have snow in the Philippines. But yeah, as time goes by, like I've seen the Ewha students in the dormitory, like at first few of days of snowing, everyone is going out. And then now no one is going out. Your room is so warm and comfortable. So you could stay on your room if you don't want cold weather. It's so warm. It's even so hot. So yeah, this is it. You just need to have prepared with your winter clothes. Your winter clothes for foreigners here in Seoul, especially. You could just avail free winter clothes even if you want to. There are a lot of things like that you could get for free as well. So you don't need to worry about it much, and you just need to enjoy.
Okay. So this is a question about the graduate thesis or dissertation or any academic output. Would it should it be written in English or in Korean? And is it easy to access various resource materials? Yeah, this is a really good question because you will be there studying. Okay.
All right. So, okay, in my case, for example, the Graduate School of International Studies, our program is all in English. So everything is in English. You will write your thesis or dissertation in English. I know some friends who graduated already. What their professor only asked them is the abstract to be translated in Korean. That's for our graduate school. But I also know Filipinos, for example, they are in the education department, masters in education, and also doing PhD in eduk, other programs. They are required to write the thesis in Korean, and they are only asked also to translate the abstract maybe in English. So like just the abstract, just go bilingual. But the good thing, for example, in Ewha, because we have a college for translation, and there we have also Korean studies. I've been receiving this on my email that if you need assistance in translation of your research, of your thesis in Korean, the students who are majoring in translation could help you actually do that. And usually, like my friend in education who's writing thesis in Korean, his her professor even find her some students who could help him in translation, and the university like also somehow offers it. But yeah, straightforward answer, it depends on your program. You will write in Korean or you will write in English. Sources, again, it depends on of course there are a lot of available English sources, but depends on your topic. You may require to get Korean documents if your topic is specifically on Korean culture or anything that you need to, right? Maybe Ron could add more because he has done already his dissertation.
Yes, I studied in Korea University for my master's, and it's linguistics. So I expected that the class will be in Korean, and maybe same as in Ewha, when you enroll in a class in like their enrollment system, it is stated Korean class or English class. So we have that in Korea University. And in my case, my classes were half in Korean and half in English. But the textbooks were 100% in English. So what I did was before the class, I had to read the resources, and then the professor is lecturing in Korean. And then, while the professor is lecturing, I was saying to myself, "Oh, that's how they say it in Korean," because like I already know the content of the class. And then for recitation, when it's a Korean class, I recite in Korean. But if it's an English class, I recite in English or faster in English. Of course, in Korean, it's like I have to think more. So about the outputs, the academic outputs, I had to ask my professors if I can write in English because my English writing is better than my Korean writing, like academic writing. I could also write in academic writing, but maybe it could take me like 1 month to finish a academic paper versus 1 week of writing it in English. So it depends on the professor and the subject, and of course your program. And there are, for Korean studies, Korean language of Korean language education and Korean related courses. Mostly it's in Korean, and then I remember I attended one. I enlisted one subject, but I had to drop it because the professor would allow me to wouldn't allow me to write in uh, English for the academic paper, because I could do presentations in Korean and recite in Korean and interact in Korean inside the classes. But then when I asked the professor if it's okay if I write my final paper in English, she said just drop the class. So I just drop it. So, but it was a good experience too. Okay, so I think it's just normal, even though but Korea is better now than like 10 years ago, I think, because like 10 years ago there were no English classes or just one or two. But when I was there in 2011, yeah, that was 10 years ago, I think 15 years ago or 20 years ago, it was the situation was not that, it's not like that. Okay, so let's go forward to the for you, Miss Ivy, do you have any plans to pursue a career in Korea after your graduate studies? Or if so, do you have any tips?
All right. Okay. So I'm doing my PhD. So it means that 3 years or more. So honestly, I'm not yet thinking of what is the career after, because it's 3 years more. Whatever opportunity that may open, we will keep our options open. But for tips, actually, I have friends here who like finish their master's degree here, for example. When you graduated in Korean universities, you could have actually availed, for example, a visa that you could actually look for job opportunities here in Korea. There is such a visa like that, especially if you're a graduate in Korean universities, you could avail that. And also there's a recent visa as a residency visa for Korea War veteran countries, which the Philippines is actually included. And one of my friends in Ewha is actually have this visa. If you are a GKS, and of course you're a graduate of Korea University, you could also avail this F visa or permanent visa that would be for 3 years. So it means that you could also have opportunities, career opportunities here if ever. Then after 3 years, there are like additional requirements or review your stay here. Because like any other country, like there are point system for residency. So if your question, if there would be career opportunities after you graduate here in Korea, yeah, definitely. And especially if you learn the language, I mean, it's good to be bilingual, especially in this country. So maybe Ron, in your experience or your friend's experience.
Yeah, there are available jobs for foreigners, but it depends on your personal decisions in life. And in my case, it's just so happened that I found the job here in the Philippines teaching Filipino, so in University of the Philippines. So I grab it. So it depends on your perspectives in life. And related to that, maybe our last question, Miss Ivy, can you give advice or encouragement to our aspiring applicants having these difficulties deciding if they should try and pursue studying abroad, especially in Korea or in Ewha or any universities abroad?
If you should try studying in abroad or study in Korea, definitely you should try. There's always no harm in trying. You should always keep your options open. So especially for scholarship, meaning scholarships, these are limited slots, these are competitive. So if there are a lot of scholarships from different countries. Usually, scholarships or application period are almost the same period, and usually they are asking almost the same set of documents, maybe various forms only, but almost the same set of documents. So just keep on applying. You could apply in Korea, you could apply on other countries at the same time, and then whichever you got into, you just choose the best. And yeah, you should, I mean, like what I have mentioned earlier, if you want to have world-class education in a safe environment, it's really good to study in Korea. I mean, especially, I think it is being tested, especially during the pandemic. I mean, this pandemic really tests how strong the leadership of a country is, and not only the institutions as well, educational institutions, everything has been tested by this pandemic. And from my experience here in Korea, they actually handled it very well. And like even for foreigners, maybe, yeah, we will start the running of the vaccine for this month. They will roll at it right now. Hopefully by November, 70% of the population will be vaccinated. And of course, this includes also foreigners. This would be free for foreigners. So again, like pandemic tested all countries. Actually, most of the countries who have actually good in handling are in Asia. Yeah, and Korea is one of it. So it's a good opportunity. You should try all that you could apply.
Yes, thank you, Miss Ivy. So for the GKS related questions, we will answer that in another event. So please like our Facebook page, Global Korea Scholarship Philippines Alumni Association, and we will have an event or a webinar for your tips on how to apply and how to write the papers and how like the step-by-step application. So wait for that event. And thank you very much, Miss Ivy, for that inspiring talk and overload information about Ewha. I think we have another video left, right? So maybe just to end this. Okay, so while Miss Ivy is preparing the video, hopefully you were inspired by this session and start working on your application to study in Ewha Women's University or any university in Korea. Of course, Korea University, my alma mater. Okay. If you wish to claim the certificate of attendance, please fill up the evaluation form, which is posted in our YouTube account. So in the YouTube message, you can see that there the link. So again, the evaluation form is open up only up to 5 p.m. And for more information about UP Korea Research Center, visit our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/UPKRC. Okay, so let's play the last video about Ewha.
All right, so these were the hangout places in Ewha to encourage you more to study or visit Ewha in the future. All right.
There is a wide variety of cultural and leisure facilities at Ewha Women's University. They say you can have a one-of-a-kind college experience just by taking advantage of these facilities. ECC's Art Film Theater is a place loved not only by the Ewha community, but also movie enthusiasts. The fourth basement floor of the ECC is a venue for musicals, plays, and concerts. I would say it's a university loved not only by the Ewha community, but also culture enthusiasts. The fourth basement floor of the ECC Hall is a place of sweat and determination. You need to build up physical strength and stamina in order to study well. The classes range from personal training, tennis, yoga, swimming, indoor rock climbing, and even golf. Get some exercise after class. Unforgettable food to remember your college days. There are so many at Ewha that it's hard to list them all. There are 5 student cafeterias, so you don't need to go far, even when your parents or friends come to visit. You are wrong if you think it's just a regular convenience store or snack bar. Everything from salads and sampler sets to meals that reflect Ewha's students' tastes are offered in each university building, with items of a whole new level and low prices. There is an exciting college life, but we still have our student duties to fulfill. The beginning of classes, midterms, finals, and certification exams. Although it is not easy to study and prepare for our careers, this is also a time for personal growth and development. Relax and rest areas located all over campus with a fragrant cup of coffee, and then let's hit the books. Find one of Korea's major bookstores on campus. From textbooks to leisure reading books, it's a perfect hangout for book lovers. Come to Ewha to experience the cultural life. Ewha's hangouts offer relaxation and fantasy. Where is your favorite hangout?
All right, so that's it. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for participating in this info session. So we know that we do have a lot of questions. As much as we want to answer it, we do not have enough time. But then again, like what Professor Ronel said, they have a different info session for GKS. And then again, just visit each website of the university. And also the study in Korea, the application process is actually pretty straightforward. What is written there, you just follow it. But yeah, for more tips, Ronel.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Ivy Ganadillo. And hopefully we'll see other of some of our audience there in Korea when it's normal again. Okay, so start your journey to your application in Ewha or in any university in Korea. And again, if you wish to claim the certificate of attendance, please fill up the evaluation form. Evaluation form is open up to only at 5 p.m. And thank you very much to our organizers today, the UP Korea Research Center. Of course, our speaker, Miss Ivy Ganadillo, and Global Korea Scholarship Philippines Alumni Association, and the University of the Philippines, Cebu. Maraming salamat po, kamsahamnida, and sehebok manipaduseyo because next week is Korean New Year, Chinese New Year, or Lunar New Year.
Yes,
Sehebok
kamsahamnida.
manipaduseyo. So, paalam. Thank you very much.
안녕히 가세요.
안녕히 가십시오.